We're going to start off with a review of writing linear equations. You should have covered this in middle school, but we're definitely going to quickly look at it, especially using a calculator. So we pulled out some formulas straight from the reference sheet. This is something that will be given to you. This is the slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the other one you're going to use is the slope-intercept form formula, which is y equals mx plus b. What does m mean? M is your slope. And what does plus b mean? Plus b is your y-intercept, and that simply just means where it crosses the y-axis. So let's take a look at where it crosses the y-axis. If I'm given a graph, right, and I was told write the x and y coordinate, which is written in x and y, of the y-intercept, you would write this as 0 on x, and then on y, 2. So this coordinate will be y2. Go ahead and pause the video real quick and fill out this coordinate before I do. Okay, so now that you've done that, let's go ahead and write this coordinate down for this y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis, which is this point right here. The x value at this point is 0. The y value is -1. So this coordinate is 0, -1. Now looking at the y-intercept for each of these graphs, completely two different graphs, looking at that y-intercept, what can you tell me about the x value? So just looking at the x value, what can you tell me? X is equal to 0. So if x is equal to 0, that's where your y-intercept happens. And this is going to be a good little shortcut for you to keep in your back pocket. So please try and remember that, but we will mention it over and over again. So the y-intercept occurs where x is equal to 0. Now, given that information, we're going to go ahead and review how to write linear equations. But like I said, we are going to do this with Desmos. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with example 1. And at the same time that I'm doing example 1, you're not going to do example 1 with me. You're going to do example 2. Okay, and that's what I'll be checking for. So I'm doing example 1, and at the same time, you're doing example 2. Okay, so your example 2 is right here, and I'm doing this one. All right, so example 1, write the sequence and complete the table. So I need to complete this table. Here is my sequence. Let me see what it is. So stage 1. So at 1, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 dots. Okay, stage 2 is blank, so I don't have anything for 2. And then for 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9 dots. So I filled in the table, and according to what I know, I need to find the slope, the y-intercept, and then essentially I need to write the linear equation. So as I do this, you have a table that's partially filled out that you're going to do the exact same thing that I am going to also be doing. Okay, so again, please do not put my example in the calculator. You will put in example 2. All right, so I'm going to fill in into my table what I know. And to do that, I'm just going to read these instructions. And these are your notes. That way, meaning if you ever forget how to write a linear equation, you come to this page and you read what to do. So it says Google Desmos Graphing Georgia calculator. So I should have actually started that. So we're going to go Desmos. And it's very important that you do it this way, Graphing GA. And you need the testing one, okay? So the way you know that you're in the right calculator, it must have this green bar right here. If you have a black one, you're in the wrong spot. So it has to have this green bar. It says grade 8 high school version. All right, so Google Desmos Graphing GA must be the green one. This is the one that you will see on the test. Therefore, that's the one we're practicing. On the top left of the Desmos Graphing calculator, click the plus symbol. So this is what it looks like on the top left. So click the plus symbol. Okay, select table. So if you look at the picture, this is what the table looks like. So that's what we want to select. Okay, input your table, being sure to double check your numbers are right. So again, you're doing your table, but I'm going to do example 1. So I'm going to put in just the values that I have coordinates for both x and y. So I have 1, 5. So x is 1 and y is 5. At the same time, I'm double checking to make sure I'm typing it incorrectly, because the only way you get this question wrong is mistyping. The other coordinate I have is 3 for x and 9 for y. So 3 for x and 9 for y. And that's all I have. You can see the coordinates have been plotted for me. So now we're going to go on to the next step. It says, so you're typing in the numbers that you've been given. All right, so type in y equals mx plus b on 2 separate lines. So I'm going to type in y equals mx plus b on 2 separate lines. And let's show you some shortcuts. If you highlight that and hit Control C, which means copy, then go to the next line, Control V, which means paste. Or of course, I think you can do, what you guys are used to, which is highlight, right click, and then, well, I don't think it's letting me. All right, so I've done that. I've copied y equals mx plus b. So again, you have your values, but you're copying y equals mx plus b 2 times. All right, change the first one. So this is this one. Change the first one to y1, squiggly line, which is called tilde, but you'll hear me say squiggly line a lot, mx1 plus b. If your table is labeled x1, y1. So let's look at our table. What is the table labeled? x1, y1. So that's why I'm going to use y1 here and x1 here. But if you notice that your table is labeled y2, x2, that's what you're going to type in, y2 squiggly line mx2 plus b, and so forth. So that means if this was x3, y3, you would do y3 squiggly line mx3 plus b. So just be careful, because really what you're telling the calculator, hey calculator, write me the equation using this table. And if you don't use the titles or the labels that it's given in that table, it will not do it for you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and type y1 because my stuff is 1. So I'm just going to put a 1 right here, a 1 on the x. So there are two things I'm changing. The ones so that it can refer back to this table. And I just don't know why it doesn't like the equal sign. You're going to do tilde. To do tilde, you're going to do shift, and then right underneath the escape key is tilde. But if you don't see it, I'm going to show you how visually here. Click the keypad, click ABC, then on the very bottom right here, tilde. And immediately you do that, you see a line appear. Now, be very, very careful. That line must go through your dots. The other function I'm going to show you is this little magnifying glass. It's zoom fit. What it does is it puts the dots in perspective. So you make sure that line goes perfectly over your dot. If you've done that, you have done that step correctly. Then on the second one, so that's this one right here, right? Replace the numbers for m and plus b that are displayed in the equation y equals mx plus b, and that is the equation of the line. So you're going to look at the calculator what m is equal to and what b is equal to. So let's go ahead and do that. M is equal to 2. So according to the notes, I just replace m with 2, as I've done here. And then b is equal to 3. So plus b is replaced with plus 3. If this was minus 3, then it would be replaced with minus 3. Now, very important to note, and I didn't put it in my notes, so we're going to actually add this in. Notice that the black line has lined up with the red line. You see that? The red line has lined up with the dots. So everything lines up means you've done this correctly. So this is how I write a linear equation. Now, there are a couple of additional notes in case you get a question like this. Sometimes m is not a whole number. So if you get m is not something like 2, but it's a fraction, what you're going to do is you're going to take whatever fraction that is and type it on the next line. So let's say it's this fraction right here, 1.6666667. Now, keep in mind, Desmos has rounded it. So it says, if this is a repeating decimal, meaning it's repeating over and over, type it into the next line without the last number and hit fraction. So I'm going to take the 7 out and hit fraction. Oh my gosh, there's no fraction. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to hit fraction. All right, so when I hit fraction, I get some weird looking number. It will look weird, so keep typing the repeating decimal until it goes away and then comes back. So I'm going to keep typing basically the 6. It's going to go away like that. You're going to keep going until it comes back. When it comes back, it's going to give you a fraction that's a little bit better. So 5/3 would be your slope, for example, in this question. What I want you to do, I'm going to just check for your understanding. So you're doing this question here, and after this, you're going to bring it to me. I want you to tell me what is the fraction for 0.33 repeated. So you go ahead and do that as well. So you're going to bring me your notes for me to check. I'm going to check that you've completed this table. And I also want you to write the answer, the final answer, y equals 2x plus 3 is mine, but whatever yours is. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill out my answer too. So the slope that I found was 2. And again, I'd left some space here to do it by hand, but I'm not going to do it by hand because of time. The y-intercept is 3. And remember, where does the y-intercept happen? Where x is equal to 0. So if you notice, x is equal to 0 right here. So this must be 3. And I'm going to confirm that in just a second. Write the given formula. Y equals 2x plus 3 is our formula. Y equals 2x plus 3. And then now I need to complete the rest of the table. So I'm going to show you how to quickly complete the rest of the table. And that's going to be, let's see, click gear. So here it is. So here's your final answer, y equals 2x plus 3 for my example, but yours is different. All right, click gear, which is settings. So this is this one right here. I'm going to click that. And then you're going to click table to fill in the table. So I'm going to click this table right here, and it's going to give me values. Now, the values that it's given me may not necessarily be what I'm looking for. So I can see -2 is -1, so I'm going to fill that out. I can see -1 is 1. And again, we're just going to confirm 0 is 3, 1 is 5, 2 is 7. But now the question becomes, how do I find 16? There are two methods in which you could do this. You can click on the last number, and then you can press enter, 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 enter. Just keep pressing enter until you get to 16. Or you can actually type in whatever you want. So let's say I wanted 35. I can type in 35 and it's going to tell me what it is. So again, two methods. Go to the last number, press enter, or actually type in what you're looking for. So when x is 16, y is 35. So I'm actually going to quickly check to double check that the slope is indeed m, even though the calculator told us. We're going to do this by hand because later on in this, not in this exact unit, but in our course, we're going to do something called average rate of change, and it's slope. It's find the slope within a given interval. So I'm going to find slope given the original numbers I had, which was 1 and 5, and then I had stage 3, which is 3 and 9. So if you were finding slope, you'd use this formula. So I'd need to label x1, y1, x2, y2. So let's go ahead and do it. And it doesn't really matter how you label it as long as you keep the order the same. So stage 1, let's say that's x1 because it's the x value, y1 because it's the y value. So they go together. Make sure you keep them together. The other one I had was 3. So this is going to be x2 and y2. Okay, and then it just becomes a matter of actually just putting in the equation. I always like to start with the bottom for some reason. So I'm going to do x2 minus x1. So I'm going to look x2 minus x1. So 3 minus 1. And that's going to go to the bottom. So 3 minus 1. And then on the top, it's going to be y2 minus y1. y2 minus y1. So 9 minus 5. And of course, you're welcome to put this in the calculator, but just going to do this by hand. 9 minus 5 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. So this is 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So again, this is called average rate of change. We're going to do this later. I just want to quickly introduce it. But for right now, the biggest thing is, are you able to use the Desmos calculator? So again, you are completing example 2. Please complete the missing values in this table. Please write the linear equation for this table. And then again, the last thing is I wanted to know 0.333 as a fraction repeating. What is it? Let's practice.